We know for quite a long time that tribes educated children mainly through elder instruction, the elders' interaction with them, teaching them how to raise crops, how to sow, things along that nature. So there's four models of education that tribal people encountered in this country. And one is the no assimilation of tribe, continuing to do the elder type thing. Another was an adaptation. That's where tribes accepted that they were going to be part of the American tributary experience. Another was semi-assimilation. That's where tribes were allowing their children to maintain their tribal soul, but hopefully develop the American mind. And the fourth is what the United States was wanting at the time when they formed a lot of these policies, and that is total assimilation. That is where the tribes completely abandoned everything tribal. Well, one of the first examples of this occurred in 1636 when Harvard was established. One of the first graduates, Caleb, in 1665, demonstrates the policy of educating someone to become an educator and thus convert the entire tribe. He died, sadly though, from disease after he went back to his people. But in 1693, William and Mary was founded, and so then we know that Delaware were starting to receive education, as well as probably Cherokee. Research needs to be done on that. But obviously, the intent was to train them back and turn them into British, send them back to teach their people. And so kind of creating, I don't know how to put this in a polite way, but Indian surrogates to go back and change their people. In 1769, Wheelock founds Dartmouth, which was originally Moore's Indian School, and they start with the same process. We know Delaware were sent there, as well as probably Seneca Cayuga. Samson Occom, a Mohegan, was one of the very first 1756 schoolmasters. So by 1791, George Washington begins proposing irrational experiments to see if they can't ramp up civilization among the tribes. And so Thomas Jefferson inherits this. And so his policy is maybe we need to remove them so that way they can maintain who they are, maintain their culture, but we should also provide some form of education. So in 1803, he proposes teaching tribes how to maintain agriculture, even though, quite frankly, the mound building tribes had a form of agriculture for eons, as did most tribes. But he goes again to propose that we either circumscribe them and approach the Indians, and they will incorporate with us as citizens, or they will remove beyond the Mississippi. So he's creating an either-or scenario. That's unfortunate because it creates a precedent, and specifically one for removal. In 1801, the Moravians established a mission among the Cherokee, and by 1818, the Choctaw Academy is established. Now, the Choctaw Academy is very interesting because it attempted a complete assimilation model. And in Life Among the Choctaws, Reverend Benson mentions that the Choctaws that the youth were sent were useless because they're neither Indians nor white men. So this total assimilation idea that the earlier missionaries came, the tribes rejected in a large part. So by 1819, with the foundation of the Civilization Act, it says the purpose of providing against the further decline and final extinction of the Indian tribes. There's a really dark motivation in the Civilization Act that if tribes did not convert, become American citizens, we were facing extinction as a people. And that's the dark side of history. But by 1828, the Cherokee established a white mission west of the Mississippi, what is now in Arkansas. In the Treaty of New Echota, Article 10 provided that in selling the lands, it established a policy that those funds would be used to create a school fund for the tribes. Tribes are very excited about that. And so as a result, by 1842, you see the Choctaws build Spencer Academy, they build Wheelock. 1843, the Muskogee built the Coweta National School. Armstrong Academy is built in 1845. Cherokee Female Seminary, built in 1847, which makes it the oldest female college west of the Mississippi. Now, this shows the pattern that tribes are going to start taking. Initially, they're sending their students out among the 5 tribes into the states and bringing them back to become teachers. The Cherokees say, rather advanced and very significantly say, hey, let's do our own training here. Let's quit sending them out to the states. I think that is just a brilliant maneuver on behalf of a tribe. Then the Cherokee Male Seminary is constructed. Lowbridge Boarding School and Asbury Manual Labor School in 1851 by the Muskogee. Wapanaka Academy, 1852. Chickasaws Bloomfield Academy, 1852, 1856. Miccosukee Academy among the Seminole. And then Indian Territory comes in the 1866. Horace Greeley predicts otherwise the extermination is inexorably certain. He's predicting that if Indians did not civilize, that we should be exterminated. That's in 1860. This is a very stark symbol of the direction of Indian education among the United States, how the assimilation model will take place. Commissioner Cooley has to respond and says the policy of total destruction of the Indians has been advocated by gentlemen of high positions. He says the attempted destruction of 300,000 of these people would involve an appalling sacrifice of the lives of our soldiers and frontier settlers and the expenditure of untold treasure. Such policy is manifestly and impractical as a violation of every dictate of humanity and Christian duty. So, long story short, Cooley says we can't start killing them. Bacone College is founded first at Tahlequah. It's now the Center for Tribal Studies there in SU. Riverside's founded in 1871. Now, as we mentioned, tribal founded institutions tended to have that semi-assimilation model, which was the archetype of Western society, but language and culture remained intact. Well, as we mentioned in the Greeley notation, the policy of assimilation that was at the BIA at the time was total assimilation. Let's destroy all culture. The Western tribes face something that is not quite as pro-tribe as was established among the 5 tribes. Fort Sill boarding schools built in 1871. Carlisle in 1879. Kill the Indian, save the man. Really, it's just a horrible assimilation process. See the student here. I mean, they took these pictures at Carlisle to promote that they're going to save the Indian. Bacone moves to what's now Muskogee in